Hey, my name is Clay, and if you're new to my channel, this is sort of an unusual video for me. I'm more so focused usually on gear demos. That's kind of a thing that I've been liking to do, and I experiment. I've been playing music, mostly bass, for like 20 years now. And I've been in a lot of different bands covering genres from metal to punk to oldies to rockabilly to hip hop to worship, right? So a lot of ground I've covered in a lot of years with a lot of groups with different personalities, and sometimes the different personalities can make being in a band difficult with people. Sometimes, but people butt heads. I think that's kind of normal. What I'm really focused on today is the last band I was a part of in my 30s from 2021 to 2025, and the problems that I experienced with that being, older and having a family. It's early. I've tried to make this video twice already. I'm still drinking my coffee. I'm only talking in this one, so I'm not gonna be playing any bass. Uh, so I'm gonna try to roll through this in a concise sort of way to just talk about the damage that being in a band while having a family, a wife, and some young kids, what it did to my family. Now, I say damage. Obviously, what I mean is there's strain, particularly on the kids want their parents, both parents, and if I'm not around, I feel like it's more of a strain on my wife and not necessarily on the kids, but they do need me there. Um, you could look into all sorts of details of people who've had two parents around all the time, or people who just have a single mother, or people who maybe have both parents, but the father's absent. Not absent out working, but mentally absent. And my experience being in this band mentally has left a lot of scarring on me. It still affects the way that I think to this day. God bless the people who are in bands who are actually going somewhere and who have families and are somehow able to get out there and tour. And I know you're touring to support your family, but I couldn't do it, man. I don't know how you do it. See, I have 4 kids, and the moment I found out that I was going to have my fourth was the moment that I was going to quit this band. But prior to that, I almost quit. I was really close one time, but mentally I was prepared every couple months to quit, honestly. And I only stayed due to manipulation and mind games that kept me plugged in, kept me feeling. It was a feeling, and it was sort of like a crusade, like holy war type mentality put on us to this is the most important thing you're gonna do. It's really crazy. So what I'm getting at is hopefully your bands are not as dysfunctional and toxic as the one I was in. But even like a band that is a well-functioning band could still damage the time that you have with your family. I would say if you communicate early on your priorities, say that I've got kids, I don't want to spend too much time away from my kids. If you have a well-functioning band, they'll hear that, they'll respect that. And if they don't, I would say that's probably your red flag and your sign to run. I no longer will do the band thing. I am now doing this YouTube thing. And my only live music thing that I am doing as of current is playing guitar for my church, which requires of me an early Sunday morning plus the Thursday before a couple times a month. You know, that's about it. And that's as much time as I'm willing to pour in. Okay, so now we shall get into dysfunction junction. All right, so I've know I've read online and I know that people have been in some really dysfunctional bands. I know that. I really think that I don't want to sound like that. Mine is up there as far as how bad it was. So, I'm going to give you a lot of details because it'll help you know what to look for. Okay, so our band was started by a guy who was in a different stage of life, who had grown kids, so no kids in the house, and who had no full-time job. We'll put it that way. So his time and his schedule was dictated by whims and whatever mood he was in that particular day. I'm saying it this way because at different times he could hunker down and hold to a schedule and stay consistent, but that would last for only a time period. It was only a little bit of a time period. So with a person like this in control of the band, and I say it like that because I'm going to refer to it as his band because he started it. He wrote the songs, the words. He was not a musician. He wrote the words, and he basically more or less was telling us how to do these live shows, right? So all of this was some sort of fulfillment of what he wanted to do that he was living out through us, right? And he was taking people that have different things going on in life, families, jobs, other obligations, and dictating to us like what our schedules should be, what we should be working on, how often we should be over there. And you could not get a consistent practice schedule from this person. There would be times that we would have a gig and it could be 2 months out, and he would just decide to start having nightly, every single weeknight, sometimes Saturday, rehearsals for like 2 or 3 hours every night. We're talking like 40 to 60 rehearsals for a 15-minute or like a 30-minute. We weren't earning any money on this. We weren't. It was all the pursuit of perfection for perfection's sake. Now, don't get me wrong. I think wanting to be good at something is a great, like, you know what I mean? That's a great attribute. If you just want to be good, that's cool. If you just want to be good for the pride of it, which is what was going on, I don't know. It can be a little toxic. It was very toxic. So here's a little taste. All right, so we're talking all this leading up to a show. It would be very likely for stuff to just change at the last minute. That despite all the preparation, right? We could just be changing stuff out of nowhere. We could prepare a set and a show that would be nice and solidified. And guess what? You could recycle that. You could use it for 3-4 gigs in a row, since they're not all going to be in the same place. That would be great, but we rarely ever did that, right? This was the type of environment where if you questioned what was going on, if you had any sort of contradictions to the vision that was being said, you could be berated, you could be all but cussed out, not actually cussed out, but fussed at for like an hour or two, right? So it made you not want to speak up. It made you just want to shut your mouth and go through whatever. At one time, I remember a group text that said, yeah, Clay's here and he's great at his instrument, but you can tell his mind is somewhere else. Yeah, my mind is on like, I'm here, I'm not being creatively fulfilled, right? That's the one thing. I'm not making any money, and my family is elsewhere, right? My family's at home, I want to be with them. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what they've got going on. And I'm stuck over here with this dead end nonsense. So that's the other thing I should say about this band leader is he lives in a reality. This is this type of individual that is, imagine this reality but slightly twisted. We'll say it's twisted like it's variable. At times it's twisted like 15 degrees, and then at other times it's twisted 180 degrees. So he didn't see things as they truly are. And as I say that, I know that we're all a little bit like that. Just a little bit, but he was constantly like that. He could not see for the life of him that this is the 2020s and the music industry is not what it was. So the 60s through the 90s and like even past that, right? You could sell records, but Spotify and all this stuff ruined that. So now, like, if you're going to release your stuff on Spotify, you're not going to make any money. But if you're not known, you can't just sell records, right? They have boxes of records boxes of CDs that they ordered to sell that are sitting there. I'm talking thousands of dollars down the drain because somehow in his mind he thought he could sell all of these. So what I'm getting at is I feel that your chances of winning the lottery are better than you making it as a musician in 2026. You can watch tour videos of Mary Spender, Adam Neely. I've seen some other people, I can't remember who, but they do a very good job of chronicling how much it costs to go on tour. Yannick Gwizdala maybe talked about it. You're lucky to break even. You are lucky to break even touring. And these guys had delusions of grandeur and wanted to tour at some point, which immediately from the time I heard that, I'm like, heck no. You guys can hire a bass player. I'm good. I don't want to do this because they would have gone into debt, made no money, dragged us around all these places. And of course, this is the expense of not only the band, it's the expense of us individually because we had to be all the time buying our own clothes and paying for our own meals and all this garbage, right? It was a huge burden. Like, it just was a burden in every sense of the word. So this man still thinks that he can make it somehow. Like, he's going to continue to push, thinking that he can make it. I knew from the beginning that we couldn't make it. What I wanted to do from the beginning of joining this band was write our songs, be in on the collaborative process of writing, which I was more involved with early, just for the music, right? Because I'm a musician. But guess what I never got credited for? I never got credited for composer or composition or any of that. I'm not just talking about coming up with bass parts. I'm talking about coming up with whole chord progressions and lead lines, right? All that, right? And I never got credited. But I thought it was just going to be a studio band. And that's kind of how it started. It was like we were inside, we were working on stuff, we were recording. Some late nights, sure. But they were few and far between. We were getting this stuff locked and loaded to release. And then this whole idea of live music crept in. And at first it was cool. It's like, hey, here's our show. We're going to share these songs. And then it was like constant. What was the goal of all these live shows? There was no goal. There was no set goal. See, that's the one thing. If you're going to continue to do these things, you got to be working toward a goal. You got to know what you're trying to do so that you can figure out how to accomplish that instead of just playing for playing's sake. And doing all local shows without making any money. So yeah, anyways, this guy with this twisted sense of reality, before I rambled forever, just seems to think that we were doing something great, that we were achieving all this stuff. And because of how great we were, that it was the highest calling in our lives. He never said this, but this is how it was painted. It was painted in a very manipulative, masterful, slow burn kind of way. And here's how that is done. You give examples of professional big musicians. And this is why it's bad for your family. It was bad for my family. It's not always like this, but we were reminded of people. I don't even know who, because I don't care. But talking about so-and-so was working on music, and they went out and did so long, and their marriage fell apart, and they got divorced because they were working on blah, blah, blah. And these people all sold their houses, and they moved in together so that they could work on the music together, and blah, blah, blah. So this sounds neutral. It sounds like an example of things that happened, but it wasn't a cautionary tale. It was a positive light. It's worth it to lose your family. It's worth it to sell your home and move in with people that you're in a band with. Like maybe when you're 18, sure. Yeah, sure. Yeah, maybe you could do that. But no, man, I'm not. So yeah. There are many things that I will not get into that continue to show the mentality of neglect your family. Seriously, neglect your family. Work on this, right? Work on this. God forbid any one of us wanted to stay home with their kids or take a freaking date night. Like, no, it wasn't a disappointed talk or like a, okay, please don't. It was like the end of the world. It was like blown out of proportion. And that's how you keep people from wanting to do this stuff. You blow everything out of proportion. You berate people. You manipulate by that sort of mentality. Is this like, if you can wear people down, you can really get them to fall in line. And that's scary, man. It really is to think about the way that it all went. And yeah, it's the way that it's affected me now is I'm so task oriented. And I know that I was task oriented prior. Don't get me wrong. But I can be so task oriented to the point where I can miss things that are going on because I'm really just wanting to find something to do. And that's not a way to be present for your kids. It's really not. It's walking around your house, like trying to find stuff and do it. Like I'm not going back to that band leader person. Don't get me started on expectations of what to do in a household. See, if you want to see the way a person is going to, the direction a person is going to point you in, look at the way that their family runs. I've talked about this and other stuff. It's just, that is, yep, that'll show you exactly what is going on. So, yeah, I'm extremely task-oriented. I sometimes just need to slow down, be present, see what the kids are doing, put off wanting to clean and build things and fix the blah, 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 and just stay focused on the kids, man. Stay focused on what are they talking about. If it's nonsense, play into the nonsense. Play outside with them, whatever, man. Anyways, don't be afraid to make the hard decision to leave something that nobody else wants to seem to leave, to focus on what really matters. Understand what's important to you, what you need to do for your family, all of that. And sometimes you can be a pioneer doing what other people don't want to do, and then they'll follow later because they see that you did the brave thing about leaving. No, I don't mean that about me. I wasn't the first to leave. But boy, have a lot of people left. So from the other party's perspective, they cannot see. This is something I've always said. When you seem to have a problem with everybody, maybe you're the problem.